Welcome to Behind the Muscle podcast. Today's guest is an NPC bodybuilder. Today's guest is Giovanni DelBiondo. Giovanni, welcome to the podcast, man.
Hello, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, for sure, man. So, tomorrow's the big day. You just told me you're carving up. You got to eat a lot of food, which is something different in terms of the carb up process. So, we've got about 30 minutes. So we're gonna kind of just touch on a couple of quick things, then we'll kind of get into bodybuilding and this prep specifically. But I just want to ask you quickly, Giovanni, who are a few of your favorite bodybuilders of all time?
I guess my most favorite bodybuilder, Gunther Schlierkamp. He's the Giga Chad, the most handsome, IFBB Pro, defeated Ronnie Coleman in his prime. That's who I, aspire to be like. Gunther's the best. So, and also Steve Mahalik. Steve Mahalik was an old school bodybuilder on Long Island, and my dad used to train at his gym. He had a lot of insane training methods, which I still subscribe to this day. And yeah, he's a big inspiration to me as well. So
excellent, man. Love it. Okay. I want to just kind of get a little bit of, again, because we don't have, we're a little limited on time. I just want you to paint your childhood picture just quickly for us. So where did you grow up? Did you play sports? Just tell us a little bit about your childhood so we kind of have a little bit of an idea of what you were like when you're younger, and then we'll kind of move on from there.
So I guess, my dad was a bodybuilder. So he, always the gym and eating healthy was in our lifestyle. We grew up in Virginia. Both my parents are from New York originally, but that's where we grew up. And, we're eating chicken and rice all the time, very healthy. My mom worked at the gym, so I was always in the gym. My dad was training in the gym. Just, very fitness oriented life. And then, in school, I played football in high school, and, I think I played soccer in elementary. I wasn't super involved in, sports though, but yeah.
Now I want to ask you, there's not very many athletes or coaches that I've brought on that had a parent that was a bodybuilder. So how did your dad get into bodybuilding? Because that was, a little bit back in the day. So how was he exposed to bodybuilding? How did he get into it?
Yeah. So like I was saying, they grew up in New York. He was like 20 minutes away from a really awesome gym, Mr. America. Mr. America's in East Meadow, New York. I'm not sure if it's exactly in East Meadow, but so he started going there when he was like 14. And a lot of the professional bodybuilders in New York would train there on Saturday. Even Bev Francis would train there. So, he was around that environment. And I guess he just used it as like a after school activity to do. He was in the gym like 2 to 3 hours a day, being around that environment. So that's kind of how.
Did he actually compete then himself?
Yeah, he competed as a teenager. My dad wasn't a professional bodybuilder. He went on to be a cop in for NYPD, but still a big source of inspiration for me.
Absolutely, man. That's pretty cool to have a dad like that. I mean, kind of like almost like a superhero, right? That's really, really awesome. Okay, so once you graduated from high school, why don't you talk about how life kind of unfolded for you, Giovanni?
Yeah, so when I was 19, I won Teen Nationals here in Pittsburgh, and that was a big achievement for me. And I was like, I want to do bodybuilding. Well, I guess I kind of stagnated in my progress. I always say that the worst thing that happened to me was winning Teen Nationals, because I don't know, I kind of rode that wave for too long, and I should have made more progress. Like I was 230 when I won then, and I'll probably be like 255 on stage. So that's potentially 5 years. I could have been bigger, but all things in hindsight, it's still working out because I look good. But yeah, but basically my focus is just being a good bodybuilder and trying to make it in that. And I'm also a coach, and I help not necessarily bodybuilders, mostly like young lads trying to get fit, change their life, helped a couple people lose, over 100 pounds, stuff like that. I don't claim to be like a bodybuilding guru or expert, just trying to help,
Yeah. Okay. What year did you win Teen Nationals? What year was that?
2017.
Right. So did you compete against Cody Montgomery, or was he a little bit before your time?
He was before my time. There was a significant amount of competitors though back then in comparison to like recent years. Not to knock anyone's achievement if they have, but I feel like my year was like the last year that there was still a large amount of teenagers. Still it was nothing in comparison to what it was 10 years ago, but still, I was very, very proud of that achievement.
Well, you should be. That's very legit. So, at what age then did you kind of decide that you wanted to be a bodybuilder and you wanted to be a professional bodybuilder, and this was going to be the life and the lifestyle that you were going to live for the foreseeable future?
Yeah. So I guess I started training as a bodybuilder when I was 15, and I did my first show when I was like 16, and that was quite an experience. And then I did a couple more shows after that, and I was like, I'm pretty good. Like I made a significant amount of progress in, just a short amount of time. I've been training and eating right. And I started looking at my structure, and I'm like, oh, this would look pretty good with added muscle. So I guess I've really just been at this almost 10 years now. It's hard to believe, but there's definitely a lot of wasted time in there as well that should not have been wasted, and I don't plan on wasting anymore. So,
will you expound on that? You've said that a couple of times about like the wasted time, and you kind of let the Teen Nationals win kind of maybe go to your head, or you rode that out a little bit longer than you should have. So, how did you kind of squander some of that time? And I want you to share this because maybe this will be enlightening for some people that are watching or listening, or maybe a little bit of a cautionary tale. So expound on that for a second, please.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess if you want to dive into it, after Teen Nationals, I did blow up in weight, and, I should have just stayed and lean bulked and made smarter decisions, but I ballooned up, and that wasn't good. Luckily, I didn't, get any super bad side effects from that, like no damage to my skin or anything. But then I competed again at 21, and I was like 240, and I made some good progress. Then I was like, I'm gonna do classic, and then I tried to do that, and I had to suck down to like 225, and it didn't look right, obviously. And then I experienced some personal issues. I lost a parent, and I was upset by that greatly, and I had to go through a little bit of a rough patch in order to come out of that. So now I am out of that, and I have been out of it for a good amount of time. And yeah, just looking back, I don't really have any regrets necessarily. I just am aware that of eating all the meals and training is going to make you look a certain way, and I was not doing that. But that's irrelevant now. Just a good topic to talk about for a podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Good God.
Well, I think it's important that you share that, because you're a human being just like the rest of us, and you sharing some of that will maybe, like I said, shed some light on maybe where some other people have faltered, or some of their struggles, right? So I appreciate you touched on that. Now, did you kind of have to pull yourself out of that struggle spot in your life, or was there like a turning point? What kind of broke you in terms of like, okay, like Giovanni, I've got to move forward with this bodybuilding thing. I've got to figure this out. Was there like one thing or one incident, or what was it?
I just decided to get ready for North Americans last year. And, that was essentially after, 2 years of doing nothing. And I ended up getting fourth, which I was very I was like, that's not bad. You know, I was my biggest ever. I could have been maybe a little tighter. But anyway, so I spent a year since then doing everything perfect. And I'm curious to see what happens. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't know. I have a very supportive family, like I was saying, my dad, and I surround myself with very positive people, not necessarily yes men, but people that will tell me what I need to know. So I'm not delusional. And, you know, being delusional is very, very important part of bodybuilding. You don't want to be delusional, right? So the combination of that, you know, who you surround yourself with, and then you got to knock yourself out of the fog and be like, hey, you're being a lazy prick. It's time to get it together. You know what I'm saying? Is that a good answer?
Hey man, if that's your answer, it's good for me.
I feel like I'm kind of rambling a little bit.
No, you're fine, man. You're doing great. You're like you're gonna be on stage at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. I'm so thankful that you're even taking the time to chat. I mean, you're doing awesome. I appreciate it. Now, mindset, like where do you allow your mind to go, or where do you focus your mind? You know, because bodybuilding is kind of like Groundhog's Day. It's the same thing every day if you want to be successful. So where's your mind at every day? Do you have like a goal that you think about? Are there motivating thoughts or quotes or somebody that you kind of think about? Like, where's that at in terms of your mindset?
I heard this quote that says, you don't matter. Only the objective is what matters, which sounds corny and cliche. And it is, I guess, it's bodybuilding, right? We're just eating food and training hard. But I found it to be pretty helpful for me. It's like, listen, doesn't matter how you feel. Doesn't matter, you know, if you didn't sleep enough, just do the objectives and complete them, and then you're good. That's essentially how I look at it. So, you know, one of my little sayings now, I got a little following on TikTok. I always say, you don't matter. Only the objective is what matters. And, you know, kids tag me in that stuff. So that is something that helped me through this prep. And yeah, that's part of my mindset.
Love it. Okay, let's take a quick step back. I want to ask you, when you started competing as a teenager, did your dad coach you or did you have somebody else? And then why don't you talk about the evolution of coaching in terms of who has coached you and you becoming a coach yourself?
Yeah. Okay. So my dad and I got myself ready for my first show. And then I competed in probably like 4 more natural shows. And then I joined the NPC, if you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And I hired Palumbo, Dave Palumbo, to coach me when I was 19. And he still coaches me to this day. I don't even want to bring this up. I know there's going to be some people watching this that are going to be like, you'll understand eventually. Anyway, I've only not worked with Dave once. And that was when I decided to do classic like a moron. And I hired some guy for like a week to peak me. And it was disastrous. You know, no disrespect to him, but I don't know if you ever heard the story. Let's not discuss it. You know what I'm saying? But behind us, baby.
So obviously Dave's very well known. How has he kind of helped you progress as an athlete?
Dave is awesome. I love Dave. Him and I have a very good relationship together. And funny enough, he actually went to high school with my dad. I don't know. I owe a lot to Dave. Dave and my dad are the reason why I'm here, like as good as I am, if I'm good, you know what I'm saying? So I owe everything to Dave and my dad. So Dave has helped me tremendously. I've learned so much from him. And he takes a lot of time with me. He responds to me immediately, unless there's some like family thing you guys going on. And, you know, every time I've done a show with him, I've looked good. So I guess that's what you want in a coach, right?
Right.
And be honest with me too. Like, you're a fat fuck or whatever. If I was off plan, you know what I'm
saying? So now you coach yourself, and you said you've helped some people lose like 100 pounds and things like that. Is that kind of like your main revenue or your main stream of revenue? And is that something that you just want to continue to expound and build is your own personal coaching?
Yeah. So I do coaching full time. That's how I support myself. And it is something I'm passionate about. I like to help people. Like I said, I don't ever want to be like a bodybuilding guru. I don't ever want to help peak people for shows and all that. Even though I have, and they've done well, I don't ever want to be like a top bodybuilding coach or something. Even if I could, I'm not saying I could be, but that's not some path I would want to go down.
What? Why not?
I don't know. It's just like you you know you have to trust that this guy is doing something, and then your reputation rides on him, and it's like, is he actually doing it? It sounds very stressful, and then people hop around. It's a whole ordeal. You know what I'm saying?
All right. So let's go back to 2021 North Americans. You said you had 2 years off, and then you stepped on the North American stage. Now, what show did you compete at to qualify for North Americans last year? And how did that kind of go? Because that was kind of your first show back after a 2-year layoff.
Yeah. So I did the Capital Grand Prix, and I won supers. And there was a freak light heavyweight who beat me. And I don't know. I when I got on stage, I was so nervous. I was like terrified because I haven't been on stage in 2 years, and the last time I was on stage, it wasn't good. So I'm like, shit, you know. And then I gained some confidence. I came back at finals, and my body also came to life. The guy who won the show was like, "Yo, bro, like, what did you do from prejudging to finals?" And it was only like 3 hours because the show was run like that. I'm like, I don't know. I really don't know. I wish that I showed up for prejudging the way I looked at finals, because who knows? But it's in the past, right? But yeah, it was good. I was definitely upset that I didn't win the overall at a qualifier, like a regional qualifier, because I've won overalls and at bigger shows in like New York and stuff when I was 19. So I'm like, God, have I regressed? And I was like fucking with my head. I'm like, there's no way I regressed. It's just, it's all about who's there, of course. The guy was phenomenal. I think he's a pro now. So shout out to him. Shout out to him.
So then you went on to North Americans and you got fourth in the super heavyweights. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I mean, was that the first time you competed at a pro qualifier or not?
Yes, as an open bodybuilder, yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm assuming you probably walked away with that pretty satisfied, or not at all?
I was very satisfied because I know it sounds weird to say, I was just like, this is my year where I'm like, hey, I'm back. If you're watching, I'm back. And I'm trying hard again. And I was, so in the morning, in the prejudging, I wasn't even in the first call outs. So I'm like, what the hell? And I was pretty upset about that. I'm like, damn, this is not a good look. And then I ended up beating a guy who was in the first call outs. So they put me in fourth. And I'm like, I don't know. It was unusual. But I was very happy with it, especially because I was like, I think I got fifth or sixth. So to get fourth, I'm like, wow. I remember like being kind of shocked when they were calling us out. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I definitely got fifth, but yeah, I compete to win. Of course, everyone should compete to win, but I was happy with it.
Cool. Well, there's different types of wins in life, as you know. So that's great that you were satisfied. Now, how long did you take off until did you compete at some other show earlier this year? I think I saw on your Instagram, or not?
I don't think so. No, that I'm not sure what you saw on the Instagram,
Okay,
but no,
that's fine. So
yeah.
you've basically taken off from North Americans last year up to stepping on stage tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so how has this off season gone? What was your focus, and then how has this prep gone?
Yeah, this off season was very productive. Like I said, I have a tendency to balloon up. I love to eat. I'm Italian, so I tend to be a little bit more or less serious on the diet. But this year I'm like, hey, I'm a bodybuilder. It's time to get real and eat these meals, man. So I finally did that, and I was training with ferocious intensity, and I packed on a lot of size, and I'm excited about it. Yeah. So that's what I did, and we'll see how it looks. And also, prep went exceptionally well. We kind of took a different approach, me and Palumbo, where we kept food in higher, and we usually have like shredded glutes at like 5 weeks out, 4 weeks out, and I was like, damn, I'm a little worried. I'm a little concerned because it was 3 weeks out and they weren't completely in yet. But he's like, don't worry about it, you know? And everything came together in the end, thankfully.
Okay, quickly here, I know we got to kind of start wrapping things up, but I do want to ask you, because you said you have some, I can't remember the exact terminology that you used, Giovanni, but when you mentioned Steve, you said something about some like insane or crazy kind of training philosophies or style. So how do you train in your own words? Like, what does it look like? Paint that picture so we can at least kind of see it.
Yeah, so I train very high volume and with heavy weights. Like I'll deadlift 500 pounds for 20 reps, 585, 6 plates, 12 reps. I was doing that like 3 weeks out. 405 for 30 reps. When I squat, 405 for sets of 20, which I think is pretty unusual. And I'm doing it with pretty exceptional form as well. So I don't really see too many people training like that. I'm sure that there are guys watching this who are capable of doing that. But, I pride myself on my training. I take a lot of pride in that. And, yeah, we do a lot of supersets, like force negatives and stuff, a lot of volume, which I was actually considering cutting back on potentially for my next off season. Maybe doing more of like a high intensity training like Dorian with still some of my principles, which I guess kind of contradict each other, but we'll see. I have some ideas I want to throw around. So
does Dave ever tell you to cut it back a little bit, or to pull it back a little bit in your training, or not?
He's usually like, I send him videos of me training. He's like, you're a freak. So I don't know. He doesn't really bother with my training.
Okay.
He did give me like a back day to do, and I did do that this entire off season, and I did notice some good gains from it. So yeah.
Well, I think if Dave told you to pull back, you probably wouldn't listen to him, would you?
Yeah. I mean, it's like a very sacred thing. When I go to the gym, I want to do my thing.
Amen.
And I hate to be, following, like having a notebook and all this shit. I'm not that guy. Respect to you if you are, though. You know what I'm saying?
How much cardio have you gotten up to in this prep?
90 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. Fasted or after your training, or?
I do I split it up. When it's that long, I do it in the morning and at night, but I'll do it faster in the morning and then post workout. Yeah.
Okay. What are you going to North Americans to accomplish? What's your number one goal?
I feel like this is a trick question. Oh, to be better than last year, which is the truth. That you know what? I'm going to play it safe and say that, and I also say I compete to win as well. So I'm going to say that too.
So your real answer is you're going to win super heavies and the overall, or you just want to win the super heavies?
I want to win the overall, man. I don't even care. Everyone wants to be humble. I want to win. Period.
Well, you know what, dude? I've had a lot of the super heavies on that you're going to be competing against, and most of them have not been that humble. They're saying they're going to win, so it's gonna be a great battle. I'm excited for it, So okay, let's wrap it up here. I want to ask you, what's SRS stand for? You've got it on your shirt, and I saw it on your post on Instagram.
All right, so this is crazy. You're asking me this. A lot of people ask me, and I never tell them. So I don't know if I should break my code right now for you. I really want to. You're a kind guy, and you have cool tattoos on your arm there. But I'm sorry. I'm going to have to pass. I cannot tell you this. Please.
like it, man. That's good. It's good. Okay. How far do you envision yourself taking this competitive bodybuilding thing? What do you want to do or accomplish when your competitive bodybuilding days are up? What would you have liked to accomplish by then?
I would like to win a pro show.
Okay.
I don't know if I consider myself a guy who, I'm 6'2", right? So I have to be probably what, 290, 280 to be really, really competitive. And I don't know. I don't know if we'll just have to see, because like I said, I've only tried really like 1 or 2 off seasons in my entire bodybuilding career. And this was extremely productive. So I'm like, if I have 4 years, which Dave is like, you're coming up on your growth spurt. He tells me, he's like, your metabolism is slowing down. So you're going to put on a lot of muscle. So if I can put on 40 pounds of muscle, we'll see what happens. I don't know if it's going to look really nice at the end of it. I think it will, because I like my structure. Maybe I'm a little biased though. You know what I'm saying? But it's difficult to say. I would love to go to the Olympia. That would be freaking sick. We'll see if it happens. Maybe I'm being delusional. Maybe you're watching this right now. You're a fellow bodybuilder. You're like, this guy, John Effer, he's freaking delusional. He's going to the Olympia, baby. You never know. You got to set your dreams high, man. So that's my answer. But I would like to potentially be in a Bollywood movie after Bollywood bodybuilding is done. Like maybe do some acting, something like this. It would be very cool. Put it out in the universe. You never know what might come back to you. So that's my answer.
I think I think you've got some acting in your future if you want it, man. You seem like you have a great personality. All right, last thing I'm going to ask you, Giovanni. What do you feel like? And I want a serious question, okay? I don't want an acting question or an acting answer. What do you feel like bodybuilding has given you, or what do you feel like bodybuilding has taught you?
It has taught me discipline. It taught me that being disciplined in life makes your life easier. If you are backstage and you are fat, or you do not have the muscle that you need, that is because you were not doing the things that were necessary. And that translates into many parts of life where it's like, well, you didn't do this, and this is why you're in your current scenario. So that is what it's taught me. It's like, you got to fucking cross your T's and dot your I's if you want to make things go down, Yeah. That's my serious answer for you.
Cool. I like serious answers. All right, man. We got to go really quickly. Why don't you share with us your Instagram and anything else that you'd like to put out there, and then I'll do a really quick outro and I'll let you go, okay?
Okay. My Instagram is John Effer. And my TikTok is John Effer. And that's about it.
I saw some supplement sponsor or something on your Instagram bio. Do you want to shout that out or not?
Nah, I'm okay.
Okay, cool. All right. I appreciate your time, Giovanni. I'm going to do a quick outro and then I'll let you go. Okay.
All right. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
All of you who are tuning in to another episode of Behind the Muscle podcast, I just want to say thank you so very much. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. And finally, I will leave you all with this. Remember, behind the muscle, there's always a story. We'll catch you guys later.